Hi everyone, on this video I'm going to show you how to make drying racks for kitchen cabinet door refacing job. I have another video explaining how to paint kitchen cabinets, and this is what I used on that video. I just want to get into the details and explain how I made these. It's not a big job, it's pretty easy and simple to do. If you want to learn how to paint kitchen cabinets, please refer to that video. I'm going to put the link in the descriptions below. At the end of this video, I also explain how to make this turning table. In case if you want to spray your kitchen cabinet doors, this is going to make your life a lot easier and it will save you some time. I started by cutting two pieces of 2x4 at 6 foot. Because I'm 6 foot 5 inches tall, I can reach the top of these racks very easily. You can make them shorter if you want to, so it's optional. I put the 2x4s next to next, then I made marks every 6 inches apart from top to the bottom, and then I got my speed square and made lines where I marked previously. After that, I got my speed square and marked the center of the 2x4s all the way from the top to the bottom. These are stereo spindles. This is what I had from a previous project. They're made of oak, but you can use 2x2s. It will do the same exact job, so that's not a big deal. Then I placed these on top of my miter saw and I cut them all at 44 inches just so they're all the same exact length. After cutting them, I marked the center of them also, just so I know where exactly the center of these are. The two 2x4 pieces that I cut earlier, I put them on the ground. I also put another extra piece on the left side just as a support. I started nailing these spindles that I cut earlier, and because I made marks in the center of both pieces, it's pretty easy to line them up. And I am using my speed square here as well, just so I can get them all nice and square. I continue doing the same thing all along until this is all done on this piece, and then I repeat the same exact thing on the other piece. The reason why I nailed them first was just to hold them in place while I'm making my pilot holes for my screws. After making the pilot holes, I decided to go with 2.5 inch screws, so I put 2.5 inch deca screws on every one of these spindles just to make sure they're not going to move if I'm putting any heavy doors on it, or once the rack is completely full with different types and different sizes of doors. I just wanted to be on the safe side, make sure it's not going to move whatsoever. Then I put this assembly on top of a table. I cut another piece of 2x4 at 16 inch and nailed it in place right where you see it, and put pilot holes and then screws in it, and I did the same exact thing on the other side as well. So this is the other side of it. This is supposed to be the top of the rack. As you can see, I'm placing it under the very first spindle. That piece of wood that I just nailed is about 16 inches. Same exact way, I made pilot holes and then I screwed it down to the 2x4. After the whole thing was completed, I actually screwed that first spindle to this 16-inch piece, so that way it stays in place and it's gonna be stronger. Then I flipped the whole thing and I put the other piece that I made earlier on top of it. I had about 4 spindles that were shorter than the rest of them, so I decided to use them on the very top of the rack because I'm not going to be placing very heavy doors on the very top anyway. It is extremely important to make those pilot holes. It is not going to split the wood while you're driving your nails in them, so make sure you don't miss that step. As you can see, I screwed that 16-inch piece to my very top spindles. This is just going to hold it so much stronger in place. It's just going to help it not to wobble when I have a lot of doors on this rack. It's a very good idea to put another piece in the center just so it's going to hold it better. It's going to brace it much better. I place it under one of the spindles and I would like to screw this from both sides. I did this at the very end of the video. Maybe I didn't film it, but it's not a big deal anyway. That's the very bottom piece that I'm adding on right there. It's about 46 inches, and what it does basically, it's gonna hold the whole rack in place. It just makes it not move while I have all the doors on it. After this, I decided to go with a little piece of 2x4 and add it right on top of this one on the 2x4 piece, and then I cut a piece of plywood. I made it into a triangle shape and I nailed it down on top of these just so it can hold it much stronger in place. I repeated the same procedure on the other side as well. It is very important to sand the whole piece after it's done. Basically, I got myself 100 grit sandpaper, I folded it, and then I started sanding it from the very top to the bottom by hand. After that was done, I just got a damp rag and I kind of wiped the whole surfaces down just to make sure there's no debris or any sawdust left on these. So when I place the wet cabinet doors on this, there's no chances of having any imperfections on top of my paint. At this point, building these racks are done. I made myself 2 racks the same exact way because I'm planning on doing a lot of doors here, and in a very near future I'm going to be filming a lot more kitchen cabinet refacing jobs. I'm going to show you how to reface oak kitchen cabinet sets and also other type, especially laminated as well. So stay tuned with me, follow my channel please. I am going to show you a lot of new stuffs on this channel. This is how it looks like. You can place all the doors on it and it's going to do an amazing job. It's going to save you a lot of space wherever you're trying to paint your kitchen cabinet doors. It's going to do an amazing job. I loved it. It was very nice and easy and simple to make. So it's pretty much time to show you how I made that turning table. It's pretty easy and simple and straightforward. I cut 2 pieces of plywood. So this plywood is about 24 inches by 18. I decided to put some screws on it just so it sits nice and stronger. This way it's not going to move when I'm making all my holes and stuff in it. After this was done, I made some marks in the center of it. I tried to find the exact dead center part. After finding the center part, I have one of these dollies that I got from Princess Auto in Canada. But again, you can get these from Harbor Freight. It's not a big deal. They're pretty cheap. You can even use one of those bars tool things, like the seats that they use for the bars. They turn freely and it's pretty simple. A lot of them actually move up and down as well. But this is the dolly that you see. It's pretty simple, straightforward. It has that center hole to it. I am going to be placing a bolt and then I'm going to put a piece of wood on top of it. Then that way it's going to serve as a turning table. I got myself a Forstner bit about 1 inch wide and then I started making a hole halfway through this plywood. I only went about 1/2 inch deep. This way when I make another hole right in the center of here, I can push my bolt through this without having it sticking out from the back side. And then I made another hole right in the center of that, just using a regular bit, the same thickness as my bolt, just so it allows my bolt to go through this. After that, I placed a washer and then I put this bolt through. After flipping the board, I put a washer and a nut on this bolt. I just tightened it up by hand right now. I will tighten it up properly later on, but even now it's not moving. It's sitting nice and snug right where I want it. It's sitting nice and flush. I am pretty satisfied with the location and the functionality of this dolly. It is doing its purpose. So I flipped the dolly the other way and I made 3 holes on those spots just so I can screw this to the very top part, the part that is going to be holding the actual cabinet doors. I had this round piece of wood in my garage already. They sell these at Home Depot and Lowe's. They normally use this for DIY projects like making a coffee table and stuff. You can find this at the lumber section. I'm trying to mark the center of this round piece, so I am going to be using my 90-degree square. I'm going to put that very corner, that 90-degree corner, on one side of the circle. Then I'm going to hold it by hand, and then on the other side I'm going to find 10 inches. Reason why I picked 10 is because it works on this circle. If you're working with a bigger or smaller circle, you can go with a different number. After making this line, I'm going to mark right the center of it, which in my case it's going to be 5 inches. I'm going to draw a line there. I repeat this on one other side as well. I mark my 5 inch there, and then after that I'm going to put my square right to that mark. Make sure it's 90 degrees to the line that I draw previously, and then I draw a new line. I repeat this on the other side and I draw a new line here as well. Right, that center of that X is gonna be the center of my circle, like that. So it's time to screw that dolly onto this piece. I put it on the center. I eyeballed it right to the dead center as much as I could, and then I grabbed my tape measure and I measured it from 3 sides just to make sure it's sitting pretty close to that center mark that I made previously. And then I used 1/2-inch wood screws here. I screwed it to this plate. Right after that, I looked into my garage and I had this piece of 1x2. I put this one down the same way here, and I made some pilot holes and I screwed it down to that circle piece. Later on, this is going to work as a handle. It's going to be pretty easy. As you can see here, there's a hole on the bottom of that dolly. I am going to place that on top of this bolt. I just tightened up that nut a little bit, not too much, just enough so it sits nice and snug and it doesn't move. And then I placed that hole on the dolly right on top of this bolt. I actually placed the washer in between them just so it moves easier. Then I placed that dolly on top and I just made a few turns just to see how it's going to function. Once I was happy, as you can see, it moves very nice and smooth, very nice and free. I placed another washer on the bolt, and then I put a lock nut right on top and I tightened it down with that wrench, making sure I don't go too tight. I just left a little bit of a space so it can still move nice and easy. There you have it, guys. This is ready to go. On the actual video of how to paint kitchen cabinets, I'm going to show you how exactly I use these. On top of it, in case if you want to learn how to paint kitchen cabinets, that video is going to be a very good source. I'm going to reveal a lot of tricks. I'm going to show you how to get a very nice and a smooth finish. In case you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. It's going to be a huge help. In case this video was any value or help to you, please don't forget to hit that like button. It's going to help me a lot, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for watching Renovation School. Till next time.